Welcome everybody to this podcast episode. My name is Tami Gomez. I am your favorite life coach and manifesting mentor, and I am honored and privileged today to have Dr. Kara Elam with us, and she's going to be talking about her path down the road of manifesting, and how where she started out and where she currently is. She's an amazing human being. So Dr. Kara, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. And Tami, I'm honored to be here because you are changing lives and, you mean so much to me. So I'm just excited to be here and play along.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Dr. Kara and I met, how long has it been now? A couple of years?
So Eleanor is 2. So it's been 3 years.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's right. So it's been about 3 years, and Dr. Kara came into my world just wanting to learn more about manifesting and creating this life that she desires. And we started working together privately. And then the topic came up of she wanted to have a baby, and her husband, Skylar still works for NASA, correct?
Well, actually, no, he's switched to Blue Origin. So he's private now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was very intrigued with Dr. Kara and her story and her husband and their whole life together. And then when she came to me and said, you know what, I want to manifest having a baby. And she kind of told me the issues that were popping up around that, right? You were kind of struggling. So can you share a little bit about what you went through with that?
Well, sure. And I just want to tell everybody that, Tami doesn't only help you manifest abundance in monetary standpoint. She also helps you manifest your dreams like all the way around, because little E, Eleanor, she would not be here without Tami. Like, I totally believe that. Like, Tami was my coach. I would call her crying. There were times when, because I really, truly in my heart have faith in this manifesting and this believing, and we're all source energy. We're here to get what we want. But there are times when, it's hard. The fertility journey is really hard. And there were times I would just call Tami and I would cry. And Tami was just such a wonderful cheerleader and encourager. And she also was a sobering force that reminded me, hey, you're focusing on your lack and you're not focusing on, what you want and what is in, what your desired life is going to look like. You are focusing on what you don't have. And that is the opposite of what is going to happen if you keep doing that. So I really do, always just say thank you, Tami, for everything. Because, we're a family of 3 now. And I do think it has a lot to do with Tami.
That's amazing. Yeah. So it's pretty incredible to be able to help. Obviously, I was a small part of that. But it was fun to help manifest a human being. Like, I had never done that before, and it was so cool. But I knew manifesting is manifesting, right? It's as easy to manifest, a human being or $1 million as it is to find a penny on the ground. Like, there is no difference in the energy of attraction. And to be able to go through that experience with you after all of the trials and tribulations that you had, leading up to that point, you were a stress case. Like,
oh yeah,
I remember those calls, and yes, you were so upset, and you had tried everything. Like, you were going through fertility treatments too, weren't you?
5 years of treatments and
5 years. Holy smokes. So from that first call that we had, when you told me what you wanted, how long did it take for your pregnancy to manifest from that first? Because I remember that call. I remember coaching you through, visualizing and feeling the emotions of holding the baby and smelling her skin and doing all those things. How long was it from that point until you actually manifested the pregnancy?
So we'll go back to like our first group call that we ever had together. And I said to you, and it was like December 1st. And I said, I want a Christmas baby, right? So I want a Christmas baby. And the universe said, okay, it's not going to be this Christmas. But the next Christmas, I had a Christmas baby. And when I spoke to you, that was in the end of January. And I got pregnant in February. So it was like a month later.
30 days. So you'd been trying for, I say we, because I feel like I'm part of the family. We had been trying for 5 years prior to that with no success. And then once you got into the mindset and into the allowing and the receiving mode and really feeling
Mhm.
it, it was a 30-day manifestation period.
Yeah. And you
Holy
also told me, yeah, I know. Sorry, I know. You also told me to make space. Like I had to make space. I was juggling so much that I wasn't making space for the baby too. So that was also a very phenomenal thing that you pushed me to do. You're like, you have to make space for the baby to come. Like in your life, like you don't have space. Your plate is full. Make space for the baby.
Wow, incredible. That's incredible. So so yay. So Eleanor just turned 2 December 1st.
He did, yes.
And she is cute as a button, by the
I
way.
know.
She is so
The best,
freaking
yeah.
adorable. God, and what a great mom you are. And it was all in divine timing. So yay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, God, Source, Creator, Universe, for bringing that blessing. Um, so tell everybody you're a doctor. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's amazing. Hello in itself. Um, what a huge accomplishment. Uh, tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about what your um, expertise is as far as a doctor is concerned, what you were doing.
So I'm not an MD, I'm a PhD. And I was actually focused on infectious disease viral epidemiology. So epidemiology is the study of disease frequencies in populations. And I was in high school and I read the book The Hot Zone and I was hooked. I was like, I want to do CDC, viral hunters, level 4 virus, infectious disease. And, I'm going to say I was not the best student in high school either. So I really had to like revamp my mindset and like get with it and, get good at studying and to get where I wanted to go. And I will say it was a labor of love because as much as I love science, I don't love math. And epidemiology is a lot about math. So I really had to like work hard and also stay focused. And, it's funny. I had a graduate school mentor actually say to me before I got my PhD, before I even got in the program, just, thinking about manifesting and thinking about just, putting a desire and like, knowing exactly what you want. And she said to me, I don't really know if you have what it takes to get through a PhD program. And
Wow, that's
she said
nice.
to me, yeah, no, that's what she said to me. And, and then 3 years later, I graduated with my PhD. I was one of the only students to actually finish my dissertation within 3 months of starting the research. And yeah, so, and then I got a fantastic opportunity at the Health and Human Services headquarters in 2018. So when I finished my PhD, I went to HHS, Department of Health and Human Services. They're the ones that run CDC, FDA. It was a huge opportunity. So I had a fellowship there. And then my fellowship turned into me actually becoming a federal employee, which was awesome. Big opportunity there. I was like living my dream. I was working for the Office of Infectious Disease Policy because my two things were epidemiology and health policy. I loved both of them. I'm a bit of a policy wonk. And in that former life, now that I'm a coach, I don't spend as much
Yeah,
time in that.
yeah.
I don't walk in those shoes as much. So let's see. And then fast forward, I'm working at Department of Health and Human Services in the headquarters, and COVID hits. And it's like, it's every, so much happened in COVID, and, there was so much suffering. And, I don't discount that, but there was also so much, that's shifted in the world, right? Because
Mhm.
we had a model of, work nonstop, and that included my office. We worked really late. It was like, who didn't get enough sleep? Who stayed up the latest to write the emails? I was really working on a lot of cortisol and caffeine. Like that ran me, cortisol and caffeine. And then, after doing research on fertility, I'm like, why wasn't I getting pregnant? What? I was basically
Right?
telling my body, like, we're in a stress mode. You can't get pregnant. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, fast forward, I got to stay home and telework, and that was a total change. And I had more time, and I dove deep, and I found you. And yeah, the rest is history.
Wow.
We had Eleanor, and it was a total mind, like becoming a mom, like, it's a total mindset shift. It's no longer about you, it's about this life. And, and every decision you make has an impact on her life going forward, in so many ways. And I realized, I don't want to work like that anymore. And I want to have fulfillment and balance, especially for her. She was an incredible why. I mean, like you tell your clients, you have to have that why has to be powerful. So a year ago, I left the federal government, to a lot of my friends and family's like surprise and a little concern because it's a federal position, and a lot of comfort comes with that. But I left the comfort and pursued my dream, my like calling. I had this like voice inside me that said, you're meant to do different. And I'm a fulfillment coach, and I really love helping people, find that balance in their life, because I didn't have balance for so long. And then when I found balance, I mean, whoa, it's such a turning point.
Wow.
So
So
that's my
you're so,
story.
so holy crap. So so you are now a fulfillment coach, and you are an entrepreneur. You own your own
Yes,
business, your
I
own
do.
coaching business. Um and uh and it all came from the realization that there was no balance in your life. Like, you were witnessing the contrast of the stress and the long hours, and feeling unfulfilled, um, in what you were doing. And isn't it funny how the thing that we think we're supposed to do, when we're really looking at that thing, a lot of it is coming from external validation of, I'm going to be a doctor. I can have that in front
Hmm.
and behind my name, right?
Yes, yes.
The money is there. The prestige is there. All the things that we think that we've been programmed from society to go after, which is
Hmm.
the immigrant mindset, obviously, right? Is that we've got to
Yeah.
grind and hustle and climb that corporate ladder and go to school and do all the things. And when we get all the things, then we'll be happy.
Hmm.
Isn't necessarily not, I mean, there's an exception to every rule, but it's not necessarily the actual key to happiness. And
No.
um so for you coming to that realization and taking that leap of faith, and like my mentor says, sometimes you got to jump off the cliff naked, right?
I
Even
love
when it
that. Yeah.
doesn't make sense, right? Your heart knows before your mind has an opportunity to talk you out of it. And when you lead from the heart and your intuition, and you do the things and following your joy and following what lights you up, even when it doesn't make sense and you do it anyway, you can never get it wrong. Now, with that said, where will there be times where you will doubt your decision? Yes. Where will there be times where you're like, man, I should have stayed where I was comfy because it was my safety net. At least I knew, even though I wasn't fulfilled, and even though that it was long hours, and even though I wasn't really happy in the position that I was doing and what I was doing, at least the money was there and I had a sense of comfort in that way. So, we have a tendency to want to go back to that when we don't get the results we're looking for immediately, because we do live in an instant gratification society now. Everything is at our fingertips, whether it be information. You can Google anything you want and learn about anything. Um, Fast food, microwave ovens, you can make your own espresso at home now in a matter of minutes. I mean, we live in that, right? Cheers to you, girl. Cheers to you. We live in an instant gratification society. And part of manifesting, can you manifest right away? Can you manifest things immediately? Of course you can. Like, everything is possible. But it's our own human beliefs that that present the problem. Is, I know it's possible, but is it possible for me? I know it's possible, but my belief in it is that it's going to take time, or I don't know how, or I don't know when, or I don't have the right connections, or, whatever the stories are that we tell ourselves is the actual resistance to receiving it. So I know you've made this transition now to being a fulfillment coach, and I'm so extremely happy for you and proud of you, because you're amazing and you're going to
Thank
help
you.
so many people. And I know we've had coaching calls lately
Hmm.
about that, and I've been trying to help you set up your business and some of your strategy. And the one thing, and I have a lot of mentors and a lot of people that I follow, and Gary Vaynerchuk, who goes by Gary V, his tagline is that attention is the number one asset, and he is not wrong. Like,
No.
even some of the other coaches that I've paid a lot of money to have coach me has always said that if people don't know you, they cannot hire you. You've
No.
got to get seen and you have to get known and you have to be able to put yourself out there, which is sometimes the biggest hurdle, right? Is that I
Hmm.
don't want to be seen. I'm afraid
Yeah.
what other people will think or what other people will say, or I don't like the way I sound on camera, or I don't like to see
Hmm.
myself on camera. Like all of these stories start popping up, and that's the actual resistance. But if you could just get through and over your own ego and stop being so selfish, because that's really what it is I'm not showing up because I'm afraid what other people will think of me, and that's coming from a selfish place instead of putting the focus on all the people
On
that
them.
are waiting for you
Yeah.
to help, right?
Yeah.
And I told you this before, there are people
Hmm.
dying, literally losing their lives because they are so unhappy and on the verge of depression, um, that the longer we stay hidden away from those people, they can't find us. And if they can't find us, we can't help them. If we can't help them, they literally are taking their own lives. And so that may sound really heavy,
But it's true.
but it is very true. And
Yeah.
my coach told me that, like, we're losing people for you because you're just too afraid to show up, show your ass up. And so that's what I tell all of my clients is that no matter what, we're going to show up. Luckily, thank God, you don't have a problem with that.
No.
You don't have a problem getting on camera, right?
No. It did take me a long time to get on TikTok, so that was thankful. I'm very thankful to you. I'm now on TikTok.
TikTok is amazing.
It's
TikTok is
so
amazing.
fun.
It is fun. It is fun, and it's short little clips, and it's
Hmm.
it's nothing. You can just say what you want to say and be, and I think that's one of the things, why you're going to be so wildly successful with your clients is because you're so authentic, you're so transparent, and that's what people. That is the number one thing I've heard from so many of my followers is that you're like a breath of fresh air because you're real and transparent. You are just, it's, and that's what people are craving. They're
Hmm.
craving someone to be able to relate to. Like, God, I can relate to your story, and here's where you've been, and here you are now. And look at the guts it took for you to do that. Like, for you to leave a federal position as a doctor and start your own coaching business on a just like, I'm in, like, I'm jumping, I'm in, and make that decision. I know that that had to have been extremely scary for you.
I'm gonna say it's scarier for my husband than it is for me because I like know it. Like it spoke to me, and it was like it's like now or never. Like you have got to do this. You aren't happy. You don't have the time. My most important thing in the world is Eleanor, and I want to be. I want to have time to be like the type of mom that I want to be to her, and that takes quality time. And hustling to get to daycare in the morning, and then like only picking her up at like 5:30, and just coming back rushing through dinner. It's not the life I wanted for her. And I know that a lot of moms have to do it, and I know they do it with grace and beauty, and they still are able to connect. And I give them props. I just would like a little bit more time with my daughter, so I wanted a schedule that I could make, and it's worked out fantastically.
Yeah. And when there's other people involved in your decisions, we do have a tendency to run across some resistance from
Hmm.
our loved ones, whether it be our partner, husband or wife, or whether it be a family member or your parents or whatever, because they see what you're doing as a risk and one that leaves your comfort zone, and that's something that they could never do for themselves. So in a reflective kind of way, you're showing them what's possible, and they're having a realization that, I just couldn't do that. And then they have the realization that I'm going to be stuck in my career forever because I can't take that leap of faith like this person did. Um, and I've always said this, when people are judgmental of the decisions that you're making for your own life and you're taking risks and you're taking chances, that the reason why they get upset is because they have to be able to deflect it back on you so that they don't have to look at themselves and say, I'm kind of chicken shit. Like, like I couldn't do that. And now I can't understand how you could. Don't you understand what we're losing? Or don't you understand, how this is a really big risk that we're taking? And it's easier to stay in the comfort of the money. But and it's crazy because when we first talked about you being a coach, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I get led by
Mhm.
these ideas and these thoughts that come through, is that you wanted to help wealthy people find fulfillment in their life, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that money doesn't buy happiness.
No.
I know a lot of multimillionaires who are miserable, and I know a lot of people that make 60 grand a year that are happy as can be, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it really has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with the person and their attitude towards life and what they feel brings them fulfillment. And
Mhm.
that you can't put a price on.
No.
I mean, if you looked at all of the people that have been uberly successful in their careers and in their life, where society would look at them and say, man, they had it all. And I could pop off and name so many right now. I could
Mhm.
name, Lisa Marie Presley, Robin Williams, John Candy. Like Chris Farley, like I could go
Mhm.
off and name so many people that have had it all, what it looks like from the outside, and inside,
They're lonely.
completely depressed and miserable, right?
Mhm.
Dealing with their own shit. Lisa Marie dealing with the grief of her son, the loss of her son who took his own life. Listen, they had all the money in the world. They had it all. And it still wasn't enough,
Mhm.
right? Robin
And
Williams had it all, wasn't enough.
that's true. And everybody loved him, but that love, like if you don't have that deep core love of yourself, if you haven't dealt with the things, like a lot of my clients, they have, there are things throughout their past that they haven't dealt with or they haven't forgiven themselves or things like that. So it kind of eats at them. And, we work on that. We work on like, um, you know, helping them to see that they're not alone. Because a lot of times they'll feel like lack of fulfillment, lack of happiness, a lot of time has to do with like feeling lonely, and feeling like you're the only person going through this, right? That's why it's so great to like you said, be authentic, because people love to know that they're not the only ones going through something, and then they feel better about themselves when they're like, "Oh, I'm normal," like normal, quote normal, like
Yeah.
they go through it too. I'm going through it. I'm not like this weird person, right? So, and then also another thing that I wanted to bring up, you know, when you are successful and you're unhappy, it's really not success, right? When you are gotten to this place of success, and it's like you said, everybody says you have like the job, the education, blah blah blah, you're supposed to be successful, so everybody's labeled you successful. And when you're there and you look around and you're not happy and you're like, I thought I was going to feel something totally different, like that, that really like brings people down, because they're like, is this it? And that question is really sad, like, is this it? And I help people to like get past that question and find their why and their like joy, because I always tell my clients fun and happiness, they're like the synovial fluid of life, right? And synovial fluid like keeps our joints like going and like moving, like, and if you don't have good synovial fluid, you have pain in your joints, and it's no fun to get through life.
No, that's a great analogy. And you're absolutely right, is that we rely so much on the external validation from others to tell us that we are successful, so that we can have
Mhm.
a level of pride in ourselves and self-confidence and all those things. And what most people don't see is that when you follow the path of traditional success and you see other people having success, and I'm using quotation, right? This,
Mhm.
because these are all
Yeah.
cliches, right?
Yeah.
Is that you can look at someone that you would think from the outside has it all. And you're like, okay, well, they have it all. This is what they're doing. So I should do the same thing if I also want to have it all, because they seem happy. They've got
Mhm.
all the materialistic things. They've got all the comfort. They're smiling and laughing and having a good time and traveling and all the things. But all of those things are external. It's almost like a mask, like you were talking about going through COVID, right? When everybody had to
Mhm.
wear the mask.
Yes.
That's almost what it's like when you're looking at these people, because behind the scenes, I saw a really good video today of an interview with a kid that said, and he's a kid, I say a kid, he was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, which is a kid to me. And he said, most millionaires do not drive luxury cars. They drive their cars on average, millionaires are an average of 4 years old, and the leading models are Toyotas and Hondas. So when you pull up to a stop sign and you see a Toyota or a Honda, it's very likely that that person is actually a millionaire, because the ones who are driving that you see that are driving the luxury cars probably have a beautiful home, nice clothes, and they financed it all. In other words, they've got these massive payments that they're having to continue to chase the money in order to live that lifestyle. Right? And the other interview was talking about how I could literally put on a show for people. I could go out and I could rent a home for the day. I could go find the coolest Airbnb and rent it, and I could create a lot of content within that home, pretending that it's mine when it's not. I could go out and rent a Lambo for the day and create content showing that I'm got this Lambo. And do you know what I mean? I could rent the things. I could go out and rent nice clothes to wear for the day and make people think that I own it all. Right? Because that is the external story that everybody is telling, is that you are not successful unless you can visibly show that you're successful. And if you can visibly show success as a coach, then you're going to attract more people saying, ooh, I want the Lambo and I want the house and I want the clothes and I want all the things, right? Whatever that may be, when it's all a facade. Do you know what I mean? I can make shit up to make people think that I have it all, but for what? Like that, like you're talking about, that's not true fulfillment. You know what fulfillment is to me? Is chasing my bliss.
Yes.
Chasing my happiness. If that means that I rent my home, listen to me when I say, Kara, when I moved here in 2010 to Oklahoma from California, I sold everything I had. My houses, I sold the Mercedes, I sold everything. And I moved here. I rented a car, packed my shit, and I moved to Oklahoma. And I stayed with Tessa, and we had a little apartment. And then here comes JC. And then we decided to go get a house, right? And we had contemplated buying a house. And I'm like, you know, I've owned 4 homes already. And when I look back at it, I'm like, why do I own these houses? Just so that I can say I'm a homeowner, the American dream of being a homeowner, when at the end of the day, if I kept that mortgage for 30 years on a $400,000 house, at the end of 30 years, I'm paying over $1 million for it. If I stayed in it, I would have paid $1 million for the home, not what I think the purchase price was of 400,000. It's called the oh shit page when you're signing your escrow documents, right? Your title documents.
Yes.
They get to that, and it's like, it is an oh shit. It's like, oh shit, like that. I'm not only paying 400,000, I'll end up paying $1 million for it, right? And we think we got this equity, and we think that it's untouchable, and we think, but it's not, right? It's the old paradigm. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of buying, I said, we're going to rent. I want to rent a house. I want to see if this is where we want to stay. I want to see, you know, I'd rather spend X amount of dollars on rent and take the difference between what we would have paid on a mortgage and take the additional money, what we would have paid on a mortgage, which would have been much more than renting, and taking that money and investing it and allowing cash flow to come in instead. So if a mortgage would have cost us $2,000 and we're only renting for $1,000, we've that extra $1,000 that we could have afforded to buy the house. I could take that $1,000 and invest it every month. I could like $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year I could be investing and having cash flow coming in, right? And then when I get enough money in cash flow coming in, buy the house from that, right? Not out of earned income, but out of passive income. And so to this day, I've been here since 2010. We moved in to the house. We rented our first house in 2013. Then we moved out of that one and rented another one in 2017 or 18. So I think it's been 6 years. Do you know, you're going to freak out when I tell you this. My rent payment every month is $950 a month.
Oh my gosh, yes, I am freaking out. I'm in the DMV area, so that this just blows me away.
Yeah, and it is not my landlord, who's an amazing guy. I never see him unless something needs to be done around the house, right? And I usually fix everything so that he doesn't have to. He has never raised our rent the whole time we've been here.
That's
Never.
incredible.
Not a
That's so
penny
great.
in 6 years. Has never raised the rent in 6 years. And I'm like, what a blessing that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the fancy house and the fancy cars and all those things to prove to anybody that I'm a success, because my success in my mind, like you're talking about, is my level of fulfillment and happiness.
Yes.
When we outgrow this home, and I told JC, she wants a new house. And I said, babe, I know, we've been looking. And the houses around here that are, I mean, Jesus, they're multi-million houses, $1 million houses anywhere else in the US. Oklahoma, it's cheap, right? And it blows me away. But there's a house that's about 500,000, half a million, and it's a freaking mansion. And JC loves it. It's got a pool. It's got all the things that she wants. And I said, babe.
Oh yeah, how could a teenager not love that?
Oh, right. And it's a 2-story. It's got a place for a dance studio, which she loves. It has all the things. And it's a half a million. And I said, babe, when I have the full $500,000 cash, liquid, we'll pay cash for the house. But right? I'm not going to get a mortgage. I'm not going to do any of those things. We're going to buy the house cash. And then when I pass, and it'll be hers because it's going to have a trust, she can do whatever she wants with it. I could really care less. She wants to keep it, great. She wants to sell it, great. Whatever she wants to do is fine with me. But the point of that whole long ass winded story was this. And I know you feel the same way. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm here to impress me. I'm here to be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? You're a good person. I like you. I don't need to love you. Because that feels weird to me, right? Doing the whole self-love thing in the mirror. I love you. I love you too, right? But I don't need to look at myself and go, oh God, I just love you so much. No, it's like, you know what? I like you. You're a good person. You help a lot of people. You're creating this life for you and your family. You're chasing your bliss. You're following your joy and all the things. And you are happy for no reason 99% of the time. What more can we ask for in life? And that's the message that I want to deliver to my clients, and it's the message that you want to deliver to yours, and only a way that Kara can deliver it, right? I can't deliver your message for you. Only you can, to those people that are assigned to you. And people that are not taking that step towards their own happiness is missing out. They're going to be chasing the happiness forever. They're going to be chasing it through external things, homes, money, cars, right? All the shit that is never going to bring them that fulfillment and that happiness in their heart. And the crazy thing is that when you can chase your own happiness and your own fulfillment, all of those things magically show up.
That's true. I was just going to say, because I wanted to make sure our viewers knew that, there is nothing wrong with wanting those things, with wanting the Lambo, wanting the big house, wanting that. We're just saying, let's have it come from a place of you're already fulfilled and you're already happy without it. And so you're not thinking in lack, you're thinking in abundance, which I'm sure they follow you, so they know that.
Yeah. And I always talk about, you're either the chaser or you're the attractor, right? And chasing is exhausting.
Yeah,
you talked about
for a long time. It's exhausting.
So did I. I mean, I did the chasing when I was playing professional sports. I was chasing the money. I was chasing the fame because it's something I didn't have as a kid, and I wanted that so badly. So that was my option that was available. I would thank God I was good enough to be able to do that for 12 years, but I was miserable. The money was there, the fame was there, and I had all the things, and yet I hated it. I was miserable. And I just one day just said, enough is enough. I'm done. I quit. Give it all up to chase something inside of me, which is what's going to light me up, what's going to make me happy. For once in my life, can I trust the fact if I just do the thing that makes me happy, that all of the other things, external things, will be attracted to me because it's who I'm being, not what I'm chasing. you know?
No, it's a beautiful point. And I want to ask you a question because this is a hypothesis of mine, and then I work with my clients about, and why, like, I wanted to work with, clients who had wealthier or were seven figure and above that were unhappy because when you had all that, when you had the money, but you weren't happy, were you less generous because you were here and now like you're happy and now you're just more like just giving and very easily let things like let the money flow to like whoever needs it, and because that's it feels like my clients who come to me and they're not in a great place emotionally, they hold on more to like their money, but then when they find happiness it flows. And I always say wealthy people who are happy are such big givers, like, and the world is a better place because of it.
Yeah, money just expands who you really are. It exposes your true self. That's what money does. It just magnifies it. If you are selfish broke, you're going to be selfish when you're rich, right? If you are giving when you're broke, you're going to be extremely giving when you're rich. For me, I was a self-sabotager. So I didn't hold on to the money. I was like, I'm pissed. This is bullshit. I'm going to sabotage my success by going broke. That's because it was almost a punishment. It was almost like, you're so stupid. You came from nothing. You created this thing where now you have money and you're not freaking happy. What an idiot you are. Go back to what you used to be. Go back to broke, smart ass. Like, I was so mad at myself that I sabotaged my own success. I would give it away. I remember, and I would do some stupid things with it, like unbelievably stupid things. I would get a bunch of people together. We'd rent a limo and, for the night, and we would take off and we'd go to San Francisco and we'd go party it up. And there was probably 12, 15 people I'd take with me, and I paid for everything. I mean, I'd blow 10 grand in a night.
Like
Because
freedom,
it was an angry spend.
okay.
I was angry, right? And I was mad at the money. You know what I mean? I was mad at the money because I thought, money, you are going to be the key to my happiness. Money, you're the key. And when the money
You
didn't
weren't
provide the key,
happy.
I was pissed off at the money. And I was like, I don't want you anymore. What purpose do I have for you? If you're not going to provide me with what I'm looking for, then I don't fucking want you. And so I got rid of it. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
Like,
and it's profound for for our audience watching. It's really profound because then they have to check themselves. Like, what is your relationship with money? Are you angry at money?
And realizing it wasn't the money at all. It had nothing to do with the money. It had everything to do with my mentality of I'm chasing something that was in me all along. Like, if I could have just accepted who I was and accepted the fact that I was kind-hearted, that I wanted to help people, that I want the world to be rainbows and butterflies. If I could have just accepted that and been okay with that, instead of the old paradigm of being conditioned by society that you are never going to be successful and looked up to unless you have all the things, right? And I never, up until I was probably in my early 30s, I never surrendered to my true being. Like, we know we're spiritual beings having this physical experience, right? And my human, and I love this so much about my mentor, she refers to herself as her human, right? Because it's not really who she is, right? Who she is is spiritual. What she has is a physical body. So that's her human. And I never allowed my human to become aligned and a match with who I really am as a spiritual being. And I never allowed myself to follow my heart and trust that that was enough.
What was the moment, Tami? Like, 'cause I don't think you've ever told me this story. Like, what was the moment when you're like, okay, I'm going to go all in as a coach? Because I don't think I've ever heard that story from you. You might have shared it on a different podcast. And
it was when I really released and let go of the external stuff was in 2006. How many years was that? 18 years ago?
yes.
I'm not good at math either, by the way. And neither is my kid. So we're all in the same boat. We all hate math. Um, so in 2006, a friend of mine, so that's when the movie The Secret came out
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
in
I remember.
2006, and I
Mm-hmm.
watched it and I was mind blown. I was like I was, it was right, as well as millions of other people when they first saw it for the
Yeah.
first time. And so that kind of started things, started getting me to think. But then I knew that there was more to it than this airy fairy type of magical wand, right, thing that the movie
Mm-hmm.
portrayed. And then a really good friend of mine, she's a chiropractor. Um, she gave me the book Ask and It Is Given
Oh yes,
by
Abraham
Esther
Hicks.
Hicks. Yeah, Ask and It Is Given. And I read the book, and using that book in combination with what I learned from the movie The Secret, I was like, oh shit, like,
Mm-hmm.
here we go. And I went all in. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to study. I want to go all in on this. I want to learn as much as I can. And it's been going now on this path for over 18 years now. And every day I learn something new, and I've got so many mentors and coaches, and I'm constantly diving in. I feel like a crackhead sometimes. Like I'm so obsessed. It's an addiction. It really is.
But it's a happy and good addiction.
It's one that has provided me with more joy than I could ever could ask for, ever. Like, now, are there times when I have shit sandwich days? Of course, because I'm a human being. There
Contrast,
are
right? You
times.
always tell us like there's still contrast. How wonderful your life is. There's still contrast.
The contrast serves the purpose, right?
Yes.
It's just there, as Abraham talks about, to be your guidance system so that you can be aware, hypersensitive aware of how you're feeling. And those feelings will tell you what you're thinking, and what you're thinking really dives into your belief system, and you get to choose in that moment. Do I want to stay in the negative because I know what I'm going to get if I do? Or do I want to allow it to guide me towards something more positive where I get to decide in every moment what I like and what I don't like? Um, and and that I am the only one that can change my life. I am the only one that can provide my own happiness. And so often we sabotage, and so often we feel like we're not worthy of it. And so often we feel like we have this, it's not a hatred for ourselves, but it's borderline, where we will do anything to um, prove everybody right that had anything negative to say about me because it hurt. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see that.
When somebody says something negative about you, you're not good enough. You want to do this? Are you kidding me? You don't know enough, and you're not smart enough. And who's going to listen to somebody that's got spiky hair and looks like you do and is 60 years old? Nobody's going to listen to you. You want to be a coach? Like, that shit hurts, because it's telling you that you're not good enough to just be who you are and just sit in the chair and say what you need to say. And so there's a part of us down deep that when we start contemplating things that we could do that would light us up, that would bring happiness to us, we go back to that trauma and that hurt and say, yeah, but you know what? Remember, they said you weren't good enough. Right. And then that starts to create this sense inside of you that, you know what, frick, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not. Maybe this is stupid. Maybe I shouldn't do it. And Mel Robbins talks about her 5-second rule, where there's a 5-second
Yeah.
window, right?
Yes.
And I just heard her talk about it this morning. There's that 5-second window of time when you have a thought about something and you actually act or don't act. It's 5 seconds time. And studies show that that is the window of time that you need to act. And the opportunity is gone after 5 seconds. It will
Well, that
never be
and when
the same
you're
purity.
yeah, and when you're afraid, like or you're like you said, you're feeling that thought of like, you're letting what people have said about you negatively impact you. And like in that moment, like the fear, like that 5-second rule, I love it because it stops. It like puts a space between you and the fear, and you get to act, and then you just move.
Yep. And you're absolutely right. And there's actually a smaller window of time than the 5 seconds. And it is the thought immediately after the initial thought
Oh
that
yeah, I
jacks you up.
love this tool. I love this tool that you give us, like your clients,
Man,
and I'm sure
yeah,
you've given
right?
everybody. It's so
Because
helpful.
you're not even aware of how fast the brain can calculate things and come up with a response to your thought. And so most people know what they want. Most people know what they do want in life, which everybody wants the same thing. We just want to be happy, whatever that looks like for us. At the end of the day, Kara, what you're teaching and coaching is what everybody is looking for. No matter how much money they have or don't have, they just want to be happy. And so we all know what we want. And healthy, which is happy, because if you're not healthy, you're not happy, right? So it's just happiness. And so when we know what we want, and then we tell the universe what that thing is, we have this thought in our mind that says, I want this thing. And then the brain kicks in immediately within a second, 1 to 2 seconds. The brain kicks in immediately and says, you're not good enough, or that's BS. We'll say our affirmations of, I am worthy, I am enough, I am wealthy, I am successful, I am whatever it is. And as soon as you make that statement, the brain kicks in with the old programming of your deep-seated belief that says, no, you're not. No, you're not. So if we can stop it at the feeling thought, right? This is what my mentor teaches. There's a feeling thought in between the thought and the action. There's a feeling thought, right? Between the thought and the actual emotion of it, not the action, but the actual emotion of it. And if you can catch that before the brain has a chance to talk you out of it or say something negative about it, your whole world changes. So if I say something like that I desire, I'm successful. Yes, I am. There's no stoppage in between the declaration and the affirmation of it, right? I'm successful. Yes, I am. I am worthy. Yes, I am. I'm deserved. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Right? Because if you don't, and you say, you know what, I am deserved of having all the money. Oh, that's bullshit. No, you're not. Like, that's what happens. That's that feeling thought in the middle. So if you can combat that and you can immediately say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You start retraining the subconscious to immediately say, and on an autopilot thing, if you do it enough, when you say something, it automatically says, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Right? We're retraining our subconscious.
Yeah, exactly. I incorporate that into my morning routine now after you told it to me. And it's been like such a great boost. Like,
so when you're ready to have baby number 2, and we talked about that.
Yes, we have.
Right. And I'm like, it's not timing yet. Like, you're starting your career, hubby's stressed because you're starting the career, like all the things, like you can't add a baby into the mix right now with all the stress you have going on. And you know that, right? You know that, and that makes sense. But when the time comes, right, that everything is good and you're settled and you're doing your thing and Skylar's good and everything's good. Then you start saying, I'm pregnant. Yes, I am. I am pregnant. Yes, I am. I am pregnant. Yes, I am.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? And you feel the emotions. I don't want you to do it now because you'll end up getting pregnant. But and you'll be like,
we'll wait for divine timing.
Yeah. But and you have to be careful about that too. So there's a lot of tools and resources that people can use to create the life that they desire. And at the end of the day, it's all around happiness. And for you to show up in this moment as a coach is absolutely the perfect time. It wasn't meant to happen a year ago. It wasn't meant to happen 5 years ago. It wasn't meant to happen a year from now. It's meant to happen right now. And you're in the perfect place for it. And you're the perfect person for it. And I need people to discover you, which is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. I need people to know about you. You have brought so much connection and joy into my life, into JC's life. You're always saying hi to Jace. And it's so cool.
She's a cool kid. Oh my gosh, she's so cool.
Yeah, I'm blessed in that way. But you give me as much as I give you.
I don't know, Tammy.
No, it's true.
You give a lot more to me. I'm so happy you're on my team.
And I'm happy you're on mine. And I need people to know who you are, because you do have people assigned to your life that are not assigned to mine. I'm not meant to help everybody. I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for those who are assigned to me. And my job is to show up so they can find me. Same goes for you. right? You have people that are assigned to your life and they can't find you, and we're losing people unless you show up. And so I would prepare our audience and everybody listening and watching, because Dr. Kara is coming and you're going to start seeing her all over the place. And trust me when I say that if you have any type of pull towards her, please jump before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it, because you will miss that window of opportunity to work with Kara. And she will change your life. She will absolutely 100% change your life. So with all of that said, would you please tell us what you have coming up?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I love that we were talking about like the neuroscience and manifesting, and that's one of my focuses for a mastermind I have coming up. It's the neuroscience of vision boards, like how you're like it, how doing a vision board rewires your brain to actually push to bring the things that you want into your life, because it really is. It's a incredible like pathway up here in this brain that we have, and it really is a great tool for like getting the life that you want, as long as you're using it correctly. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be a mastermind. It'll be on a Saturday in February. So we're deciding. I still want to work it out with you, Tami, if you think the first weekend or the second weekend in February.
Whatever you feel drawn to.
That's true. I think the second weekend in February. Yeah, it'll be the second Saturday in February.
Then so it is.
Thank you.
And that's right before Valentine's Day.
Exactly. So perfect. We can start thinking of your soulmate, or, you know, that great marriage that you want if you're already married.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Divine timing. You already knew the date and you already knew why. Perfect. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you. I love your enthusiasm.
I get so excited.
For those that are assigned to Tami, you are so lucky. I feel so lucky that I was assigned to Tami. Let's see. And then I'm going to have a 6-week group coaching session that's starting February 1st. So that will be a lot of fun. You know, it'll be like-minded people working towards, you know, that creating and cultivating that joyful, fulfilled life. Because I'm really about getting people to that fulfilled place where they find balance and happiness. And they make room for it. You know, a lot of times we're just throwing so much on our plates where there's not even room or white space for anything. And I was guilty of that too. And then I found Tami, and it's been a whole different story. So I want to bring that to everybody else too. And you can always do private coaching. And then I have a 3-seat only mastermind that's coming up, and that's a 6-week mastermind as well. That's going to go a deeper dive into like the neuropsychology, positive psychology, and how that will help you to create the balanced, fulfilled life that you want. But that only has 3 seats because that's more intense. So
I love it.
Jump on that. And I do private coaching too. And you can find me. Tami has my links, and you know, I'm at Dr. Kara Elam for all the handles. I'm the only one, so awesome. You can find me there.
And I'm going to post all of your social media links in the description of the podcast, so people can find you and reach out to you about your programs and learn more and that type of thing. So everybody, don't freak out. We'll make sure that all of her contact information is here in the podcast description.
Thank
awesome.
You, Tami. This was so fun. Let's do it again one day.
Yes, absolutely. I loved it. Thank you for taking time. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing you with the world. Thank you for showing up and doing your God-given purpose. Like, thank you for surrendering to that. And just know, like you know, that when you surrender to your purpose and you follow your joy, and you know this, everything always works out for you. Always. In all ways. Yeah?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, honey, listen, I love you very much. Everybody, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you guys have any questions, all of the info will be in the description. You can reach out to either myself or Dr. Kara. If you want to learn anything else about either one of us, we are both available. But please check out Dr. Kara. Share her with your friends. Like, if you care about people, the cliche sharing is caring is really true. Please do not gatekeep Kara from your friends, because the best thing you could do for humanity, for me, for you, for us, is to share the knowledge and to share the people that are making a difference in your life. Share it with others. You are supposed to be the ripple effect. So please share her with everybody that you know. Support her. and allow her to do her work on a global scale. We desperately need it in this time that we're living in, and we just want the world to be a better place. We want people to be happy. So do your part. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I love you guys.
I
Thank
love
you for
you.
listening. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll all see you soon.